Hi everyone, very, very warm welcome, and welcome to the Hinckley sauna. I don't know what you're having around the world, although reading the comments, it looks like everybody's in a bit of sunshine today, which is really, really nice. It's lovely to be with you again, and this week's I think's a little bit different because I've had this Ketron now for 8 weeks or so, and my plan always was we did the little preview not long after I had it. Was to come back a few weeks later and let's just see, what I made of it, really, in a nutshell. So we're going to have little bits of music. I am going to show you quite a lot of things on it today. I'm going to talk about things I really love about it. I am going to be honest and talk about a few things that I'm not so keen on. But that's life, and I think that's the case with all these instruments. We never get the perfect world. But just before we get into this today, I have had a few comments, and I don't think there's any sort of maliciousness in those comments, but they said, well, you're going to say good things about the Ketron because you're selling them now. Yeah, I sort of get that, but throughout my career in this business, I've always tried to be honest, because I always think if you're dishonest, somewhere down the line, it will come back and it will bite you. So I think it's always better to come clean. Now, look, I mean this genuinely. I would have had a Ketron even if this affiliate dealership with Scan hadn't come off. I was looking at Ketron. Actually, when Adam was still working for Korg, we were talking about it when he came into the retail shop where I used to work. We were talking about Ketron then, so I'm going back sort of 3 years that I've been keeping my eye on this product, and hand on heart, I would have had one anyway, purely because it offers me something totally different from the other keyboards. I know you can't see them. You can probably see the end of the Genos there, and I'm sat with the 5X on here at the moment. Now, today I had planned to play both the EVM and, if you look on the stand behind me, there is my 76-note Ketron Event keyboard. The thing is, we've had some exciting developments this week. You may have seen on Facebook that we had the UK's premier Ketron player down, a guy called Ian Griffin, and we've got some real big plans for software for these instruments. The thing is, he preloaded some stuff in there that we worked on, and in all honesty, I don't want to show it yet. So I thought we'd stick to the EVM today, but everything we talk about relates to both products. But I thought just to, I was going to say to warm me up, but actually that's the last thing I need today. Just to get things going, let's just play a little piece of music. And this is a piece I used to play many, many moons ago, and sort of forgot all about it. And then I was skimming through YouTube, and I saw some live streams from Neil Sedaka, and I didn't realise he's still very, very active in the music world, and I think he's in his 90s maybe now. And but yeah, he sat just at the piano in his apartment in New York, and he sang a little bit of this song, and I'd love to just play it for you now. It's a little thing called The Hungry Years. Let's put a bit of a different screen on so you can see us. There we go. So I've covered the panel of the 5X up today because actually it's not relevant. I wanted to make the screen of the Ketron so that when we get into a little bit more detail, you can see exactly what's going on. But in the meantime, here is The Hungry Years. There we go. A little bit of the Hungry Years for you. I think that is a beautiful, beautiful piece of music. Now, I know some of you watching already have a Ketron product, be it the keyboard, the Event X module, or indeed, I know there's a few EVM watches, people watching as well. If you don't own one of these products, all I'm going to say to you is please stay watching for the next sort of hour or so, because actually I think to ignore this product now is to your detriment, because you're obviously watching today and you're involved in this because you have a love of these arranger keyboards. And I think it's important to get a balanced view of your own of all these manufacturers, what they can and what they can't do. Let me just swap the screen just a second. I said I would point out things that I like and things that I don't like. This 76 note keyboard that we've got here, the things I really like about it, first of all, and this might sound a silly thing to some people, is the construction of it. It is metal. It's not plastic, it's a metal case, a little bit like the 5X. It has metal side panels. It has a metal bar down at the bottom here. The only thing I can find that's not metal are the little end cheeks at either end, and I actually think they're wood. I don't sort of quote me on that, but they feel like wood. So first and foremost, it feels pro gear when you actually sit at it. I can see why they've done it, but this is the 76 note version, and to keep it as narrow, i.e. from side to side, as possible, they've only put very small end cheeks on. That means that the pitch bend and the modulation wheel have to be up here. Now, you've probably seen from my playing before, I use this thing all the time. So on the 5X and the Genos, to have it just immediately at the side of me and have it as a joystick instead of two wheels, yeah, I prefer that. But that's something I will just have to get used to on there. I've put it on purposely. I'm not over enamoured with the music rest. It's a piece of bent metal, really. It does the job. I'm being a little bit facetious there, but I'm just trying to give you an honest opinion. The thing that I really love about it, and this is the most important bit for me, is you only have to feel underneath the keys. They're filled in underneath. This is a high quality Fat R keyboard bed. Again, I don't want you to quote me on this, but I think it's exactly the same keyboard bed that is in my 5X here. So it's a semi-weighted, pro-feeling keyboard there. That is really, really important to me, the overall feel of the instrument, the feel of the keys. So they're things I like. The other thing I like, which we're going to come on to now, if I just swap back to the big screen with the Ketron there. Now, what you're seeing, you'll see my hand disappear behind the back. Let me just show you so that you understand what's. Oh, sorry. There we go. So you understand what's happening. There's my iPad with the screen that you are seeing. Now, the EVM, as opposed to the Ketron X module, I think if I'd have had the space here, I'd have probably had the Event X module. Why? Because it's got knobs and sliders on it, and I'm a bit old-fashioned like that. I sort of like being able to sort of grab things, but it is a bigger, more bulky unit, so I went for the EVM. About half an hour before we came on air, just been talking to Adam, who's driving through the UK. He's just installed an EVM onto a Yamaha Clavinova. And that, I can see, is where things like EVM comes into its own. It's changed this guy's Clavinova into basically an arranger keyboard. And Adam said it sounded fantastic through the Clavinova speakers. all working perfectly. And all he needs is an iPad or a touchscreen monitor on his music rest in front of him. The little box for the EVM, because all the controls are on your screen, that can be anywhere. Literally, I could have it at the other end of the room if I'm using Wi-Fi to drive the screen on my iPad. It could strap underneath a digital piano. If you've got an older organ, and you look at the price of some of the new sort of top-of-the-range organs, we are looking £20,000 or more. If you've got an older organ that's got MIDI, EVM could be an ideal way, or the Ketron X module, to sort of bring it bang up to date. Okay, what I'm going to do, we're going to, as I said, use the EVM today. During the week, next week, once I've backed all the new stuff that we're doing on the event keyboard there, I'm going to put some little videos up onto YouTube, so look out for those over the next sort of week or so. I want to first on here delve into the style section, because this is the first thing that attracted me to Ketron. Now, I think we buy other keyboards, and we've all done it over the years, organs, keyboards, and we have this thirst. We want new styles all the time. Actually, on this product, it is the easiest product I've ever found for creating new styles without really understanding what you're doing. I hope that makes sense to you. So look, let's give you some little examples. You can obviously see there, I've just called it Rhinestone Cowboy. I've just put this together for today. So it's nothing special at the minute, but this is the style I've got. Where are we? Okay, so that's its basic pattern. How do I now start embellishing this style? Well, if we click on the style itself, and I'm going to go to View and Modeling, and basically now I can see everything I need to see about this style. By the way, I just called it Style Temp for now because it's already an edit of the internal style. You can see what's going on in the drums. We can flick and see what's going on in the bass. We can see what's going on in the chord. Now that is the auto chord side of it. We can see what's going on the lower. That's the sounds you can use on top of the style that go below the split point. Let's just go to chord for a minute, because this is the real sort of heart of this style. There's very little going on, because if you look, quite a few of these sections are blanked out. They're not being used. But what we have got is the all-important real chord and live guitar there. So I'm going to press real chord, and I'm going to solo it and just let you listen. Now that is a live session musician, if you want to call it that. It's a live guitar player doing those strums. And what we can do now, look, we've got page after page of live guitar patterns. Now, some of these are not just one guitar. You might hear an acoustic guitar strumming with an electric as well. So some of them are actually more than one guitar. Let's come back. Look, we've got all sorts of musical genres. Here's country. So what shall we have here? Let's just go country beat 120. That's the tempo, by the way. Let's just have a listen to that. Let's try this one. Now we could add that to the style. And if I go back to where we were, I could bring the volume up on that. And there you go. Look, in a very simple way, we've actually created a new style. And we could save that. But I'm going to delve a bit further yet. Let's go into live guitar, because these are also real guitar phrases. So I want to show you one that me and Adam found last week, just before we went live on the webinar. And it's called Country Riff. And I'm going to solo it again. And that's your way of actually auditioning this part of the style. So let's have a listen to this Country Riff. It's an amazing pattern. You won't get that sort of pattern via MIDI. That is a real guitar playing. Let's try Country Riff 2. Let's try 3. Let's bring the rest of the style back in. Okay, probably not 100% appropriate for that particular style, but you can hear what you can do. You can go through. You don't even have to stick to the country patterns. You could go into the pop section, the rock section. As long as it's a 4-beat guitar pattern, you'll be surprised what actually works. Let's exit. We've got another section called long chord. And these are also sort of live settings, as it were, in there. So you can build up a whole new style. Literally, just take a style, go in. You could alter the drums, so we could change the real drums. Again, let's just solo it so we can hear it. Now, if I go to beat 114, I know that's got the snare drum instead of the rim shot. Have a listen. Bring the rest of the style back. Totally different from what we started with. You could go into bass and you can choose MIDI bass patterns or real bass patterns. And if you go into real bass, there they all are again. It is so easy to do, and it's really down to trial and error there. Once you've got something you like, then all you need to do is save, and it will come up save as user style. I always go to save as, because that will enable you to give it a name. And basically, you've created a brand new style. Not from scratch, but you've mixed and matched all the parts together. Now, I know, before anybody shouts at me, the other instruments can do that, but not as easy as that, and not with those amazing real parts in there. You're actually, when you sit here, for me, this is so inspirational, because I'm actually playing with the phrase I used earlier, session musicians. I'm playing with a live drummer. I'm playing with a live bass player. I'm playing with live guitar players, etc., etc. So that's just a little bit about the styles. By the way, when you are on a category, you can either have the factory sounds. So if I go here into ballad, these are all the factory sounds, and you've got multiple pages of them. I said sounds, I meant styles. But when you press user, you'll see the ones that I've made up. So I've got Games JL. That's for Games Lovers Play, James Last. So what it is, it's an edit of an actual style. And that might be a good one to use now, because if I go to my registrations here, and we go, well, we should find Games Lovers JL. Okay. Now, what I've got, and I'll show you how we do this in a minute, over on the right-hand side here, I've got 8 settings to go with that particular style. And I can just go from one to the other. The style will stay the same. I can go through the style variations, but let's have a listen to the style on its own first. So it starts fairly basic. change the sound. Go to another variation. There we go. Now, I think this is such a big sound. Purposely, I'm just playing single notes here. Everybody's asking for Parisian Walkways. I don't actually play it, but I'll try and bluff my way through the first few bars for you in just a second. But look, we've got these settings. You can probably see them underneath where it says Drawbar Sustain up in blue. At the top below there are my 8 settings for games lovers play, and if I wanted to change any of them, it's as simple as, so the first one, Angel Trumpet, I'm going to change that. So all I do is press and hold it and then choose from either factory sounds or user sounds. So I might go into my user strings. Let's have a look. What have we got? Let's go full James Last. There we go. Exit. It's now put that into position 1. It couldn't be easier. To be honest, I haven't read the owner's manual yet. I probably should, but what I'm trying to do today is show you what I found out just by experimenting with it. Having changed that, I need to save that, and it's as simple as you press save and it says save registration. I press save. It already exists. It will be replaced. Do you wish to continue? Yes. So the next time I come to Games Lovers Play, I've got my full James Last at the beginning there. I've got softest vocal, which we started with. I've got pan pipes if I wanted to play a different James Last piece, something like... So it's best to just fill up all 8 positions with whatever you want. If you wanted to use a different style, or I want to use those sounds but within a different registration I've set up, just put the lock on and that will lock those 8 sounds there. I can go off now to Samba Groove, and I've still locked the same set of sounds there. I haven't loaded, if I take the lock off and I load that, there you go, it's loaded the sounds now for Samba Groove. But you can lock a set of sounds and choose a different setting there. Okay, we're all talking about Parisian Walkways. Let's get this over with. I probably won't be able to do it, but we'll give it a try. This is something I just was going to start working on the other day and then got distracted and didn't get around. You can see I've put one sound in so far called Walkways, which I've created this sort of guitar sound on there now. I'm just going to put a little bit more reverb on it because that's one thing I was going to do and never got around to it. So I'll put that on there. There we go. So let's see what we've got. We've got a style called Paris Walkways, which is an edit of a style that I've looked at on there. So we'll give it a try. And that's the only bit I know. But we got through it. But I think you get the idea. Look, if I wanted to expand this a bit further and I want to change one of those classic grands, I literally just put my finger on it and hold it, and it takes me into either all the preset sounds, or you can go into the user banks and any sounds you've actually created there. The other thing I do like about this product is that it's dragging me into the 21st century, because this is really, really strong and on more modern type styles. There's some fantastic blues, rock. I know it's not really modern, but the disco and the funk stuff on here is quite unbelievable, because when you start putting these real guitars in there. In fact, look, I hope I'm not boring you with this, but let's just do it. I've got a style in here. It was, I think, one of the early ones I did. The Hustle. Okay, so we'll load that in and ignore the sounds that are in. All I'm listening to is the rhythm. So again, how do we go in and we'll listen and we'll change that style? We go to View and Modeling, which we can either access from the main screen or from the style screen. Let's go into chord. Now that's using real chord. It's called Pop 88. I just tap on it, and I'm sure if we go back to D, that there's going to be, oh, gone too quick. There'll be some disco stuff. Here we go, disco. So let's try dance as well. So again, let's solo it so that we can hear just that guitar part. Blows me away, these guitar parts, because you can actually hear all the scratching on the strings from the real guitar player and the little mutes on the string. You just can't create that through MIDI. Not with that sort of feel. Let's try Disco 118. What does it sound like with the rest of the style? No, do you know what? I don't like that one. So let's go back to Dance 118. That Disco 118 will fit something else, but not for this particular song. So let's go back to that dance one. Yeah, I like that. Okay, let's go back to the other chords. Let's see, we haven't got anything in the live guitar section. So let's switch a live guitar on. Let's go through, let's see what we've got. Have we got, yeah, got some disco stuff here. Disco 2, let's have a listen to that. Disco 1. Disco 3, Disco Mix. Let's see what these are. Oh yeah, I like that. Let's put the rest of the style back. And we've created a new style. Again, I could just press save and save that. You can have hours and hours of fun with this, but the end results are always absolutely fabulous in there. I could go in, I can alter the drums and the bass. The other thing which I think is brilliant is you can revoice differently on each of the variations. So you could say in variation A, I only want the real guitar, but in variation B, I want a different real guitar and the live guitar in there as well. So you can create your own variations. If we look at the end, there is a variation button. That enables you to put variations of the 4 variations. I will give you a very quick example here. I'm going to go back to my registrations. And we've got one called Under the Boardwalk. I will play some more stuff in a minute, but I really just wanted to show you, I think, how easy this is to create new stuff. And we're going to just do the same with the sounds in a minute, and you'll see how effective all this can be. Okay, I'm going to go to drums. So this is using a real drum part here. And we've got these grooves here. So I've got gyro, which is like the long thing that you scrape with a stick. It makes a lovely sort of Latin American type sound. And we've got a shaker in groove 1. But I can't actually hear them at the minute. And that's because in the 2 boxes below, we've said groove 2 and groove 3 only work when we go into variation mode. So let's just start the style going again. Put variation on. Hopefully you can hear there the shaker, and that sort of wooden stick comes in just on the variation. So I've not just got 4 variations, I've got 8 variations because I've got variations of those 4 variations that's in there. Okay, very quickly, let's do the same thing with sounds. When I first got this, I looked, and right up at the top right-hand corner of the screen, if you can see, it says voice 1, voice 2, and drawbars. And my heart sort of sank a bit. I thought, well, mix 2 sounds together. But here's the thing. Voice 1 and voice 2 can both be either individual, or they can be 2 voices mixed together. They can be 3 voices. So if you make up a voice 1, which is 3 voices layered together, and you mix it with a voice 2, which is also 3 voices layered together, you've all of a sudden now got 6 sounds, all of which you can individually balance to make this sort of huge sounds if you really want them. And there's some other clever little things. So let's go back to my registrations, and let's let's go back to that sound we used. I think it was called softest vocal. There we go. And I'm going to exit. And if I want to have a look at that, again, I just do the long press on the sound, and now it shows me that sound is made up of soprano voice and sister's ooh. And it's not using a third voice, but I could add a third voice because, look, I can switch it on. I just tap where the name of the sound is, and I could say, you know, let's put movie strings in there. Okay. Can't hear them, can we? Let's bring the volume up. Let's take it up so we can... Still can't hear them too well, but let's bring them up just a little bit further. So we've mixed 3 sounds together. Let's go further along the pages, look, we can set a range. That's how we create splits. We can set velocity for every single sound. We go to page 3, and there's more stuff on there. Go to page 4, where we can set up aftertouch and things like that. Here we are. These are all assigned. Can you see the word first in a column? So all of those sounds will play. If I put those strings, instead of being a first voice, I'm going to put them to a second voice. Now I can still hear them at the minute, but I'm going to say I want that to be on normal. Now look, when I use, because it's set to modulation wheel, there is my vocal sound. There's my string sound. I can instantly swap between those sounds. And actually, as you put the modulation wheel in, the beautiful thing is these sounds actually morph together. So we start with just vocal. Here come the strings. And then the vocals slowly disappear. Beautiful way to get from one side the sound to the other. Modulation wheel is not always convenient, so guess what? You can assign it to a foot switch. So you could bring that sound in and out on a foot switch. Sustain toggle, which means you can switch it on and off. You can assign it to aftertouch. So that third sound only comes in the movie strings when you use aftertouch. We could say, instead of normal, why don't we couple the sounds? So let's go here. I'm going to use this articulation toggle button. Now what it does, instead of swapping the sounds over, as the name suggests, it makes them a couple. It puts them together. So we'll switch that back off. There's just my vocal. I'm pressing the articulation button. In come my strings. But when you switch it off, the strings just slowly fade out. So you've got this lovely sort of musical way of doing it. And once you've stacked your sounds and you've got it exactly as you want, you go to save again. And look, you can give it a name. You can tell it which family it's going to go into and which location. In the case of this, we just look for an empty location. And if we go to save as, we could call it soft vocal strings. Just call it something that you're going to understand. So, yeah, it really is, I think, an amazing bit of kit. I am having to sort of flash through this reasonably quickly because I want to play you a few things as well. The drawbars. You go to drawbars, they're in a totally different section. And as soon as I press view, I can see the drawbars. And if you notice on the left-hand side, it says drawbar preset. And at the minute, it says organ 1. You can store 24 of your own favourite or popular organ sounds. Just set the drawbars exactly as you want. And if you go into save again, this time it will say, do you want to save organ 1 to organ 1? And it will overwrite what organ 1 used to be. And if you look back on your main screen, we can see drawbar organ. We press that, and there they all are. These are your presets. You've got different pages of them. You've got 24 altogether for instant access. And that drawbar sound can be mixed with your other two voices. One other thing, and then we'll have a bit more music. When we went into view and modeling on the style section, I sort of skirted over the fact that you could set the lower voice. This sort of caught me out a little bit to start with because I kept hearing lower sounds and I couldn't find, I could see voice 1, voice 2, drawbar, but I couldn't see anything for the lower. It's actually classed as part of the style section. And here's a brilliant thing. We can layer 3 sounds together in your left hand. Yes, 3 sounds together. It's Well, it's unheard of on a range of keyboards. So you can have just one sound on the lower, you can have two sounds, you can have three sounds. And this is the bit that sort of blew me away, and I found this the other day. I am going to, well, let's leave that as it is. The lower two voice, I'm going to set to be a vocal sound here. So I'm going to go into string and choir. And I'm going to scroll through. I think there's one called classic choir. There we go. That will do. And immediately when I exit, it's changed that sound. And maybe we'll put movie strings in this one here just for quickness. Let's go. Oh, there they are. Gone past it. Movie strings, exit. So we've now got Inspire, which is a sort of a pad sound. And I'm just bringing the volumes up on these. Let's set the movie strings as well. Now, if we were to play a chord with the left hand, all three of those sounds are playing. But there is an option to make all of those sounds mono, so they all play one note. So it says here, whatever's assigned to lower one, if I set that to mono, it will only play the lowest note of the chord. If I set the choir to mono, it plays the middle note of the chord. And if I set the strings to mono, it only plays the highest note. So what we're getting now is lovely harmonies. And if you think about this, this is how string sections, big band sections, they play. All of the, let's take a big band section, the clarinet, let's say the woodwind, the trombones and the trumpets, they don't all blow the same note. They all blow different notes to actually form what we know as a chord or a harmony. So you could set the trombones or horns into lower one, and that will play the bottom note. You could put maybe the saxes in the middle, and it could be a sax section, and that plays the middle note. And you could put something else at the top. Yeah, it is a little bit so like the ensemble for the right hand on the Yamaha, but these have put it in the chords. So as you're sort of playing, you're getting these. Do you remember on last week's webinar, we said if you set a left-hand voice on the Korg to mono, you get a sort of automatic counter melody. Well, actually, you've got three, to give them their proper name, an obligato going on. So, yeah, I really am stunned by what this product is actually capable of. Excuse me while I just... That's better. So... And I'm only still scratching the surface of what this does, but I don't think I've done anything today that any of you couldn't manage. So the question there, is there a way to globally set the lower sound levels? No, what you do is you set the lowest sound levels for each style. What I've done, basically, Steve, is... every style I want to use, I've made a user style, whether I've edited it or not, because I've put my own left-hand voices and my own balance to it. So I basically work from user styles all the time. It's very quick and very easy to do. And I think if you're going to use it long-term, you want it tailoring exactly as you want it. Ian, who came down the other day, he actually... makes it a lot easier for himself because he just uses the same lower sound on every single style, so he keeps it uniform throughout. But I like to use the different sounds. Okay, what I did right at the beginning when we played The Hungry Years, I used this not in registration mode like we've just been looking at, but I used it in performance mode. And this is also very, very clever. I think of this as your favourites, be it sounds, styles, whatever. So what you can do, look, you have lots of different sets here. Now, if I could give you an example how you might use it, you might have a different set for different genres of music. Let's say you're going to play in a care home, or you're doing a small gig at the keyboard club. You're doing a sort of 10-15 minute spot at the keyboard club. And beforehand, you think, do you know what? I'm going to use 10 different styles. So what you do, you can load those 10 different styles up in performance mode. And I've put all the styles in set 1. And it means instead of searching through styles when you've got that pressure like I have today of people watching you, you don't have to worry about forgetting or whatever where a style is. You just go to your favourites, if you like, choose the style, then swap to set 2, and then you've got all your favourite and most used sounds. And you can have 18 on a page, and you can have multiple pages in each set. And that's how I made all the sound changes in the Hungry Years. I was able... These are Ian's sounds, by the way. I don't take any credit for those that we used in the Hungry Years. These were some sounds he loaded in for me, and he said, try them, see what you think. And there's some beautiful stuff in there. And what I'm able to do is once the style is playing, well, let's just show you very quickly. I'm going to choose that style, Begin, and we'll get it starting. Now I can go to set 2, and if I wanted that, say, with a mellow alto sax, let's go to clarinet. Piano. Strings. Go to choir. Sorry. The beauty is the style doesn't change unless I change the variation, and I could have, I mean, these are Ian's sounds, I would have different sounds on there, but it just means you can just go from sound to sound. And if you're playing through something, yeah, it is like set list, but it's a little bit different in that I've got this opportunity. Everything is straight in front of me. I've not got to pull menus down and whatever. I can just sort of lay it out just a little bit better in my opinion. But yeah, it's very similar. So well made point. Songbook, actually, Keith, that's more like the registration. So you have your entry, but you have 8 settings instead of 4. The performance, as Sue says, is a little bit like the keyboard sets, but again, it's just so easy to put sounds in there. I mean, you know, if I want to change one of these sounds, I don't want to mess these sounds up, but let's just go to this mellow alto. All I would do is just tap where it says mellow alto, choose a different sound, and resave it back into a performance, and it will add a new slot in for you. So really, really easy to use there. Let's go back to registrations. How are we doing for time? Well, we've had an hour or so. So yeah, let's go to that one we were talking about earlier, Samba Groove. I love this. It's a lovely little rhythm called Samba Groove. And what it's got in it, it's got this lovely little flugelhorn part. Let's have a listen. I think it's really nice. So I find it great for live, let's call it live playing. I know you've got to sort of set the things up in the first place, but I could sit and play that again. I won't, so don't worry. But I could just play it totally different because I've got a good selection of sounds. And if I went off into the performance button from those 8, I could just carry on playing because the style won't change. We've still got flugelhorn samba there, and I could go through all of Ian's sounds and go, just not repeat myself for 10 minutes or so. So I could play bossa novas or gentle sambas like that till the cows come home and keep it fresh because I can just swap between registrations. Let's show you this one we made yesterday. I think I did this one. Demis Roussos. And again, I called it Demis Ensemble. This is just an idea, or an example rather, not an idea, of how voice 1 can be a layered sound. So we've just got nice strings and mandolin like this. And this sort of idea of layering these sounds means you can generate this big, well, I think it's it's realistic, it's a warm sound, but just from single note melodies. Yeah, I think we all remember the sight of him, don't we, Keith, in the caftan? It was a bit of a shock to all of us, but an unusual, but what a great voice he had. Okay, I'm going to show you just a couple more examples. This is one I found, and I just want to show you that this works in a similar way to the other mates as well. And look, while I'm just taking another sip of drink, I want to clear something else up, because again, there's been a lot of comments come in this week about, oh, don't forget as Yamaha players and don't forget as Korg players. Look, just because I'm sort of bowled over with this at the minute and it's my new toy, it doesn't mean we are neglecting the other products. What was it, 3 weeks ago we did a Genos webinar. Last week we did Korg. This week Ketron. It will go back to Yamaha again next time. We are not dismissing any of the other products. Our aim is to offer backup, service, support for all three major brands. But I sort of reiterate what I said at the beginning. I think this Ketron is so strong that we have to consider it as part of the big manufacturers now. You know, it's to be ignored at your peril, basically. So let me show you this one. Bit of Bert, is it Bacharach? He sadly no longer with us, but I mean, what a collection of music he left. And I just want to show you again how just by pressing buttons, experimenting on the keyboard, I found this out. Hang on 1 second. I'm going to put the drink behind me because I just realised it's Friday the 13th. I don't want to tempt fate and have it next to me. So, yeah, again, I'm doing pieces of music I don't normally play. So let's see. I've got Esquin's iPad here. I'm just hoping. There we go. I knew she'd have that one somehow. So, look, when I'm on a new product, I'm sure I've said this about the others, I just experiment. I press things. I see what happens. You need to learn what the styles are doing. So let's just go through the 3 intros. Intro 1 on this one. This is a little ballad style in the style of Burt Bacharach. Okay, that's an easy one because it's just a click intro. Okay, I'm listening to the style now. I try and get songs in my head. I mean, that would fit the Neil Diamond song, Song Sung Blue. I can hear that straight away. It's got that lovely sort of lilt to it. But I can also hear a little bit of Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head in there. And when I went to intro 2, I was proved right because have a listen to intro 2. It's there, isn't it? It's absolutely perfect for it. Maybe let's try it on a string sound. Absolutely perfect for it. Then I went to intro 3. Please, Esquin, have the other piece of music I want on here. Oh, has she got it? Has she got it? Yes. I'll talk to her tonight now when she comes home. She sends her regards to all of you, by the way, but unfortunately she's slaving away in an office today. Doing accounts, and but we will get her on one of the webinars sooner or later. But yeah, back to the plot. Intro 3. Let's have a listen to that. Absolutely perfect. So, yeah, but Esquin has got air conditioning. Yes. Unfortunately, I've not. I've got a fan which is now blowing hot air at me, but there you go. So, look, you need to learn your styles. There's some great styles in here. It's just a matter of going through it. And I will learn the rest of Parisian Walkways, and maybe one day we'll play it for you. Like I say, let's just do a couple more little clips. I just want to show you when we did the preview, I did a little thing for Good, the Bad and the Ugly, and people just asked me how we put the split in it. Well, it was quite easy, really. I'm going to go here, got a voice called Good, Bad, Split. And what we've got, watch the volume. And it's ever so easy to do. If I go into that sound for you, so we'll go in there, we'll do the long press, and up it comes. So you can see that that sound is made up of solid body, which is the guitar. We've got whistle and shakuhachi. Takes some saying on a Friday afternoon, but that's the whistle and the shakuhachi. And there's... so easy to do. You go on to page 2, and look, you've got a range. Hopefully you can see that in the columns. So solid body is working between C3 and G4. And basically, to change a note, you highlight it and you press the keys, and it will update it for you. So it's again, it's an inch. I can't think of the right word. It's really intuitive, because what you would do, instead of actually trying to work out, oh, where do I want that to go and which C is that, you just press the notes where you want it to start and end. So the whistle, I've started on the next note up, which is G4, right up to the top of the keyboard. Hence, you've created your split. Put the style with it. And I forgot where the split was, but never mind, that's par for the course. Now, I've actually created another sound, which I called Good Bad Split 2, and I think I've got it saved here. Yeah, there it is. And if we do the long press on that, you can see all I've changed is I've made the guitar into a harmonica. And all I did was shift the octave, because the guitar, I wanted that nice deep guitar sound, whereas the harmonica, I've shifted it up. So where you see shift and 12, it means it's up there as well. So it's dead easy to create these splits. And the other thing we did, and then I'll play a final tune for you. If I go back to the registrations again, we did another thing with the velocity, which again, I think this is the easiest instrument I've come across this. So let's go in here. That's good. So it's not done at the moment, so that's good. So I'm going to go to this Ray Conniff vocal, and I've got one here called Conniff Vocal 2. And if I do the long press on it, you will now see that it's made up of, I don't know how to pronounce this, 2, T-W-H, which is one of the vocal sounds, 2 male, and trumpets. But you're not hearing the trumpets. But you would if I pressed harder. Okay? If we go on to that page 2 again, where we just set the range to create a split, the next 2 columns say velocity. And basically, I've said the vocal works from velocity 1 to 127. So in other words, it doesn't matter how hard, let's switch the trumpets off for a minute, how hard or how soft I play, they will sound. The trumpets, I said, don't play if I play anything under a velocity of 91. So if I'm just playing gently, there's no brass. If we play harder, in comes the brass. So I can actually control how this works. And again, it's so easy to do. I can't stress enough how logical this thing is to work around, because it's all visual, it's all straight in front of you. So as always, thank you for joining us on this, well, certainly in the UK, a very hot sunny afternoon. It's always a pleasure to have your company, even though we're not talking to each other. You're the only company I get during the day, so I really look forward to this. I'm going to finish with another sort of full arrangement piece of music. And I'm going to go back to the performance page. So I'm going to use some more of Ian's sounds here. There we go. We're going to use some of the big orchestras and maybe some of the big choirs on this one. Many of you will have heard me talk about a singer called Josh Groban, Canadian guy. I absolutely adore his voice. And he did an album a few years ago called Stages, where he did songs from shows. And he did this piece of music that comes from the show Chess, which was, of course, was written by the two guys out of ABBA. And the song is called Anthem. I think I may have done this before on 5X, but I've just, using Ian's sounds, I'm just going to sort of do it a bit on the fly. It's a lovely piece of music, this. And what I need to say to you is it starts quite quiet. So as they used to say on the television, please do not adjust your set, because it definitely gets louder. Thanks, Sue. I'm glad you find it interesting. And I hope you enjoy this. I will leave you with this one. This is my version of Josh Groban's version of a thing called Anthem. bit of Anthem for you. I really hope you've enjoyed that little update on Ketron. There'll be more videos coming up, and we'll see you next time back with Genos 2. Thanks ever so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you all very, very soon. Bye for now.